Tiara and I are here to provide the land acknowledgement for the class of 2020.
We would like to give a special shout out to all of the Native graduates throughout Portland Public Schools. Portland Public Schools is located within the city of Portland, Oregon, and Multnomah County. As graduates of Portland Public's class of 2020, it's essential that we acknowledge that every school building, court, field, stadium, office, local field trip, and learning space we've utilized during the many years of our learning journey has taken place on Indigenous land. As such, we honor the tribal people whose way of life, traditions, culture, and in every sense, ways of being was taken from them. Acknowledgement is a simple, powerful way of showing respect for those whose land we are on and step toward correcting the stories and practices, language, and art that erase Indigenous people's history and culture, and toward inviting and honoring the truth and relationship with our Indigenous land, resources, and communities. Indigenous people have lived here since time immemorial for thousands of years in the past. The Portland Metropolitan area covers both sides of the Columbia River and both sides of the Willamette River, spanning into surrounding counties. In this broad area, there were numerous tribes, peoples, and villages that honored the abundance that the lands offered. We honor their history and acknowledge the sacrifices they made.
In the Portland metropolitan area, the tribes are the Multnomah, which is a band of the Chinook, the Wasco, Cowlitz, Klamath, Clackamas, Tualatin, Kalapuya, Malawa, and many other tribes who made their homes along the Columbia and Willamette River. Let us also acknowledge the robust present-day federally recognized tribes of this area, the Grand Ronde, Siletz, and Cowlitz. It is within the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde and the Confederated Tribes of Siletz, Indians, that many of the families of the bands just listed now reside. In addition, we would like to acknowledge the Chinook Nation, which has been seeking federal recognition for many years. The urban Indian community is made up of tribal diversity that originates from around the country, representing at least 380 tribes, with more than 100 tribes represented among Portland Public Schools students and families. Native students show resilience in school from the age of 3 when they enter preschool or PPS Native Montessori through high school graduation. The urban Indian community has a vivid history and present-day presence made up of people whose journeys have brought them to Portland through which ways of forced displacement or seeking better opportunities. Today, these tribes and communities celebrate their heritage, showing resilience and tenacity, which would be greatly admired by their ancestors.
Hello, class of 2020. We never could have imagined that we would be the first high school class graduating from our own homes. I'm sure this is not quite the end of the year that any of us pictured. I know I feel like I'm stuck in a bizarre sci-fi novel. Despite the strange circumstances, we have all made it through the year. I want to congratulate you all for getting to this moment. We have all taken very different paths to get here. For instance, Miranda and I.
From kindergarten through 8th grade, I went to a Montessori school called Child Peace. I spent 9 years there, as did many of my friends. We grew up together, sharing the same experiences and memories. It made it easier to transition from grade to grade, but as middle school graduation came closer, we realized that we would have to go our separate ways afterwards. Many of my classmates transferred to public high schools in their local neighborhoods, but I knew almost immediately that I wouldn't be able to succeed at a normal high school. It was by pure luck that a girl from MLC joined my external art class about a month before I was stuck enrolling at Lincoln. I don't remember her name or her face, but without her I wouldn't have ended up at MLC. I kept the school's name in my head and looked it up as soon as I got home, deciding immediately that it would be a better fit than Lincoln would be. I applied with less than a month left and got accepted shortly after. Like Child Peace, MLC was a mixed grade environment with soft deadlines and lots of time for self-guided work. I was the only one from my old school who had transferred to MLC, but through the first week of icebreakers and name games, I was able to meet people who I could connect with and whom I would eventually grow just as close with. D. Archer, for example, was my first friend at MLC and ended up becoming my platonic husband throughout the years. We went from eating on the staircase by ourselves and talking about anime to eating with all of our friends on the tables of Tom's classroom and talking about anime. My freshman year, I had the exact same schedule as a girl named Kale, whom I eventually wore down to being my friend, which is good because we had probably around 80% of our classes together. We even graduated from goofing off in 3D printing class to being the TAs of said class, though we spent most of that time painting in the corner of the room anyway. And of course, I was surprised by the reappearance of my middle school friend Trey, whom I'll always pretend to be mad at for leaving Child Peace a month into 7th grade, even though it gave her the chance to meet Kale. The three of us, joined by numerous friends along the way, spent hours watching Barbie movies together, dyeing my hair blonde, a bold choice, eating $2 rice and taste testing my wide assortment of extra-strength protein shakes, browsing Hot Topic ironically, getting snacks at the Dollar Tree, sitting together at the back of the number 4 bus, buying too many comic books, and generally being very slight nuisances in most of the classes we shared. Of course, there were many friends along the way who drifted off to other schools before graduation, namely Tasha and Sophia. One of the only good things about MLC losing these two is that there was slightly less competition for valedictorian, although a 4-person speech would have been a fun way to go. Still, I look back on the days we spent painting our first mural together fondly, and remember them every time I look my proportionally incorrect shark or orange swimming crab in the eyes. Each of my friends, and really, each of the people I've encountered since I transferred to MLC, have left an impact on me that I won't soon forget. I hope that in some way I was able to impact you, and that the memories that we all share will be there with you wherever you go as you continue on your path and dive to the future.
I've been at MLC for around 2 months, so if any of you don't know who I am, that's why. I have never had the most traditional educational experience. I went to Trillium Charter School, which was shut down my junior year. I decided to try a more traditional environment and started going to Roosevelt High School, which, as it turned out, didn't work well for me. After that, I transferred to MLC to finish out my senior year, only to have it shut down by the virus. Although it's been somewhat of a wild ride, I'm glad I'm graduating from MLC. It's funny to be giving a speech for a school that I went to for such a short time. Still, I have some valuable memories from my time here. From trips to Trader Joe's and Pizza Schmizza for lunch with Marilyn and Tova, to seeing the faces of the other Trillium kids who ended up at MLC. I remember riding the bus every morning, having to wait the inevitable 15 minutes at the Rose Quarter, while Miranda teased me for always being cold. On Wednesdays, the stop filled with more and more MLC kids on their way to school. Also, I don't think I could have graduated without the support of the horse mural by the stairs, or the motivation from the terrifying stare of the Cat in the Hat mural. So although I've only known you all a short time, thank you for being my classmates and teachers.
Although we know it's not the way any of us pictured graduation, we still wanted to congratulate you on making it to the end. There may not be a stage to walk across, nor hands to shake and yearbooks to sign, but we will always have the memories we've made, from our first day at MLC to our last. Over the past 4 years, I've gotten to know a bit about each and every one of you, and one day I promise we'll be able to look back on these difficult times and smile at having made it through. For now, we just need to carry on as best we can and wait for that day to come. And though some of us may return to MLC now and again, and some may never go back at all, I hope to see you again someday in the future, and I wish you all the best in making your dreams come true.
This is Guadalupe Guerrero, and as Superintendent of the Portland Public Schools, I want to extend to the class of 2020 a hearty congratulations on your graduation. We are so proud of you, and you should be really proud of yourselves for reaching this important milestone, and also because we know it has taken a lot of hard work to get to this point. As an educator, I know that this moment is likely made possible because of a lot of individuals who have stood by you growing up and have been there to support you during your academic career. Graduations are a key moment for celebrating and reflecting on your successes and growths. You may be thinking about the long nights you may have spent completing an assignment, or cramming for a test, or the countless hours working with your classmates preparing a science project, or the high school musical. Or perhaps you're thinking about the time you spent on the field or on the court practicing for the big matches. Or maybe you're thinking about the homecoming dance you went to with your first crush, or the friends you've made over the years who have propped you up and provided a shoulder during those trying moments. You've each had a unique experience in arriving at this point. It is a celebration of all you've grown and the journey you've taken to get here. And for some of you, that journey has been a testament of your resilience and perseverance. I see you. Your teachers, aunties, abuelas, parents, cousins, mentors, coaches, friends, and others see you too. All of our graduates have shown resilience and adaptability as lifelong learners during this unprecedented health crisis. Given this pandemic, I want to acknowledge that you didn't have the senior year that you imagined. The PPS graduate portrait describes students prepared to lead change in the world. You've shown a commendable level of self-agency and leadership. Our community describes in our vision for the school system that we should aim to produce graduates that are inclusive, collaborative problem solvers, transformative racial equity leaders, influential global stewards, and optimistic future-oriented graduates. The class of 2020 has demonstrated many of these traits. It's had more than just a pandemic to confront. You have used your voice, your advocacy, and leadership to speak out and act on a range of important issues of our time, both those local and global. You have advocated and marched, testified at board meetings, spoken truth to power, and insisted that we need to act now on preserving your future in your advocacy for climate justice. Climate change is real and we must do better. Portland showed up strong in the youth-led movement, and it's resulted in real changes for how we make sure that every student understands this important topic. And as our country and our city confronts its history and its institutionalized systems of oppression, once again, you have continued to march and speak out against bigotry and racism. You have understood that this is a time for reflection, learning, and action. You have been clear in your declarations that Black Lives Matter. Having witnessed your leadership, I am hopeful that we will live in a more socially just world. To prepare graduates to lead change and improve the world, that's our vision for our graduates. And I believe that what future Portlanders will read about in history books, it's just that you are the generation truly prepared to lead meaningful change and improve the world so that children and youth from all unique and diverse backgrounds have the equitable opportunity to thrive. So as you go on to the next leg of your journey, rely on what you've learned, both about the world around you and also what you've learned about yourself. Be true to your sense of self-agency and moral compass. Pursue your emerging passions and continue to cultivate your gifts and talents. We are so very proud of you. Congratulations, class of 2020.
My name is Margarita Wilson. I'm the Vice Principal at Metropolitan Learning Center. And I want to give a heartfelt congratulations to the class of 2020. How proud and unique this class is, so creative, such compassionate social justice learners. I've learned so much from you, our whole school has, and we are so proud to be serving you as MLC. Congratulations.
Metropolitan Learning Center has given me the chance to graduate with a 4.0 GPA as one of 2 valedictorians, which I wouldn't have been able to do at a school with more rigid deadlines and resubmission policies. They have a very unique policy for late or unfinished work where they allow revisions, retakes, and extensions on almost all assignments. It gives students who are struggling with meeting deadlines more time to finish their projects, and gives students who want to raise their grades the opportunity to try again on tests and assignments. The smaller class sizes at MLC not only account for more student-teacher interaction, but make it easier for students to learn at a more comfortable pace. As a quieter student, MLC's class sizes and structures helped me feel more confident with asking questions and requesting help with classwork. Teachers with smaller classes have more opportunities to check in one-on-one with their students and give them the help they need. Being a K-12 school, MLC also offers students the chance to work with younger grades through clubs and activities. It's tradition to have each high school senior be paired with a kindergartner who they'll meet up with throughout the year. This year I spent time reading, drawing, and going outside with my buddy Lena. I know that the younger students really appreciate and look forward to spending time with their older buddies, just like the seniors appreciate having younger kids to say hi to in the halls. MLC also loves to open conversations about real-world issues such as racial profiling, gun violence, and addiction to electronics. Though not everyone shares the same view on these topics, MLC makes sure to give a voice to many different groups and creates an environment where people feel free to express their opinions. As an Asian American girl, I appreciate how hard MLC tries to include all voices in the conversation. Through internships, high school students at MLC are trained to enter the workforce. We were matched with internships and volunteer opportunities that clicked with our interests and were given set times to work with our mentors to become more responsible and increase work ethic. Overall, MLC is a great alternative to more traditional high schools and offers a great amount of opportunity to learn and grow, as well as many unique experiences that you wouldn't get at any other school.